Hey, everybody. And if you're watching this, you're probably already in the book club, at least one of them. This video is going to go over some upcoming changes in October. We've been doing little announcements here and there, but hopefully, this overview will give you some more inkling of what's happening come October. And they're all good changes. None of them are bad, in my opinion. And my opinion can be invalid and wrong, of course. And if you have feedback for me after you watch this in its entirety, either let me know in the next book club meetup or before there in Discord. And there'll be a link to the Discord in the description part of the video here on Patreon and maybe YouTube if I upload it there, as well as a tutorial if you're unfamiliar with Discord at all, as that is the best way to get a hold of me. And it's how you can also interact with your other book club members. So, without further ado, let me pull up my little document here and we'll crank open that screen share. Screen share. Maybe I want to share this. Okay. So, basically, we're going to restructure how the book club memberships work. Instead of signing up for a book club individually, you'll be signing up for book club passes with seats for each kind of pass there are. And it'll make much more sense here in a moment, but let's go on with the document. And let me make this font a little bit bigger as it may be small on your screen. Let's go with big, 16. Okay. So, right off the gate, we're going to cap the members per book club. It's going to be 15 plus myself. So each book club will only have 16 members total in it, which would include myself. So 15 other people than myself. And I think that's going to keep the discussions a little bit more personable, focused, and generally conversational, plus a little bit more intimate setting, I think. Um, so joining a book club pass is going to give you access to a number of the live book club seats. So if there were five people in the book club, plus me, so six, that means there are nine seats available in that particular book club. But wait, what if the book club fills up, you may say? Cool. I like this. Means I will add a replica book club. So, an example, if we have 15 plus me in Classic Group Book Club A, I'll open up a Classic Book Club B group in there. Meaning it's the same book club, just broken up into two different groups, and they'll probably have the same day but a different time slot. Either I'll meet with them earlier or later, depending on my schedule and how I want to slot that in. Um, right now, we are letting people rotate the picks if you are in the club that's doing reading books 30 years or older books. That'll probably get switched over to a poll version between the two book clubs once we had two of the same type. So, again, per our example, Classic Group A, Classic Group B. Poll goes up. What book are we going to read? And that's not to say I won't take suggestions from that poll from members of what they want to read. We'll probably play that by ear and try a couple different things and settle on some happy little medium of how that will work. But right now, until it fills up, we'll continue as is, just rotating based off seniority. Like me, I'd be the first one, and Troy, she was the first signer upper. That's not a word, but it is today. And she'd be two, and blah blah blah, until we reached the last person to sign up. And then it would start back over at me, and then we'd cycle again. But again, that would phase out once we had a replica group added into the mix. Instead of having people pick like that, we'll probably do a poll and with the honor system of don't vote for your own suggestion, just to make it a little bit more fair. But again, there may be some kinks there, but we'll work them out. Um, so after that, I think the other cool thing doing the pass system, if you don't like a book, like before, you don't have to read it, but you have the option of popping into another book club. You basically just message me, preferably on Discord or maybe Patreon, and say, hey, I want to drop out of the 30 books or older group and I want to join the graphic novels group until they're done with that book. Perfectly fine. You just got to notify me and I'll switch that information around on the back end here. It's what you pay me the big bucks for, to manage spreadsheets and paperwork and all that fun stuff. And you want to switch again? No problem. Just let me know and I'll pop you back in. What won't happen is you can't just do, I'm dropping out of this one to join this one to drop out to join this one so you get everything all at once. Not going to do any of that nonsense. But basically, it's just to give you a bit more flexibility instead of tapping out for a month or a few weeks or longer because it's a longer read. You have the option to continue reading just with a different group of people in a different club. Now, the only thing there to be concerned with is if the club fills up when you've dropped out and then you want to opt back in, well, you're going to have to wait till a seat becomes available or join the replica group. That's basically the same book club, just broken up into two different groups at different time slots, as it's kind of a first come, first served basis. Now, we will have a all what I'm going to call an all access pass, kind of like at a concert, which will enable you to subscribe to all book clubs all at once, or at least seats. And when we pop over to the other sheet here in a moment, you'll see there'll be up to 7 seats available in the all access pass. And that'll allow you some flexibility. And it'll be like a 3 access pass, that kind of thing. So you could join up to 3. You need to notify me of what those 3 are. There'll probably be a form for new subscribers to pick out initially, but for you older guard, you'll have to just let me know. I want to join this, this, and this, or I want to be in these two, or some variation of. Um, what it will also do is if you're part of a household or a family, cool. Like if you're a husband and wife team, and you both want to read either in the same club or different clubs, you can have one account because you've bought a 2 pass seat. You just need to let me know which club each person needs because it's up to 2 if you bought the 2 pass. If it's 3, one of you could be in 2 and the other one can be in 1. Or maybe you switch it up later on. Anyway, there's a little bit of due diligence on your end of just letting you know exactly what you want to do. Um, the other benefit of the all access pass is when a replica group pops up or a new club I make enters the system, I'm going to let them know first, hey, this is happening. Would you like to join it or move out of your current one into this brand new shiny one? So they kind of get a little bit more priority heads up than the general public. So that's another benefit of it. Um, we will have a new tier. It's a bottom tier. It's going to be basically just for replays. The replay catalog from all book clubs, anybody on Patreon that's a subscriber will be able to access. But there is the bottom tier where it's just you get to watch replays because maybe the schedules don't mesh with yours, but you kind of want to follow along because you find the content interesting, and or you're reading along, you just can't join the actual meeting. Um, so that'll be managed in the collection side of Patreon and things of that nature. And I do have a 7-day free trial policy for new people but it's for 1 pass only. And that's just to ensure people want to try things out, but they're unsure and they may or may not use it at that point. But it's just a little bit and that's for the 1 pass only gets that 7-day free trial. Um, and Oh, on that note, like households or families or married couples, it applies to one person for that free trial. So somebody has to be the guinea pig, right? Send in the children first, I say. Um, so another thing I'm gonna since we're getting back into the public advertising and our book clubs are growing, there's gonna be some little bit of discussion standards in the one club we've had to enable the raise hand because there's a lot of voices, right? Everybody wants to say something, which is great. but there has to be a little bit more of a social decorum of let other people finish talking before interrupting them and avoid little things of people talking over one another and nobody can understand anybody. So basically, those standards are, I mean, it's kind of implied, but I'll say it explicitly. Keep discussions respectful, welcoming, and on topic. Now, for me, if I feel like a member is getting out of hand or they like to interrupt people constantly, I mean, I have a couple choices. I'll probably refund your money if I'm going to kick you out and then kick you out and let you know why I kicked you out. Or I'll just reassign you. Like, I feel like this person has a very strong personality and they'd be better suited in this group because they're kind of throwing everybody off in their own personality type. It's not that they don't have anything relevant to say. It's just, again, they probably shine better in a more quieter replica group than a everybody wants to contribute group. They're the loudest person in the room and nobody can say anything. And some people are a little bit more, lack of a better, long-winded than others. And that's okay. It's just I may feel you're better suited in this other group that's more quiet and it's hard to get them talking versus a everybody wants to talk kind of thing. And it's and if you're that and if I'm calling you out here, don't feel attacked or anything. It's just we got to keep the environment to have a good flow because if the flow is disrupting, nothing really get accomplished. People feel like they're getting stepped on or not allowed to talk because somebody's just constantly talking. So, yeah, but if you're a true disruption and you're throwing everybody off track, I'm probably just going to boot your ass to be fair. And I'll give you a refund. Like, yeah, thanks for signing up. Bye. Um, as is to foster reading and discussion of the reading essentially. But let's go ahead and switch over to how the passes will work in a little bit more detail. Let me stop share. And is it this one? Nope. Nope. Yes. And let's reshare. Sharing. What up? So I hope this is big enough, but if it's not, I'm going to read it aloud. So the first one, that's going to be your reader, supporter, replay library. You're not getting in any clubs. You're just opting to either throw me free money or you like watching replays of our discussions. That's going to be at 587. And all tiers will have a 15% discount for annual. So if you sign up for the annual, it's going to be $4.99. Now, the one club pass, that's for one person for one seat. That's going to be $10 a month or $8.50 if you decide to do the annual. Now, here's where it gets interesting. The two club pass, again, that could be for yourself to join two clubs, or if you're part of a family unit, each of you can pick a club, and they can be the same club or different clubs. Choice is yours. If you do the annual, it's $15.30 a month. Now, the three club, again, gives you a little bit more variety. That'll be 25, and the monthly is 21.25 if you do the annual. Four clubs is going to be 32 or 27.20 a month if you do the annual. And then the all access pass, which is going to give you one seat available for all the clubs. And again, if you're part of a family unit, it would essentially be, at the time of this recording, 7 seats available that you can split amongst the people in your house. But again, it's for 7 seats. So one pass gets you one seat. Two pass gets you 2 seats. Can we guess what three pass gets you? It's gonna be 3. Now, how you divide that up, if you're part of a family unit, that's up to you. And as we can see on the sliding scale here, the more passes you get, the little bit cheaper it is going to be. And then it's going to be further cheaper if you do the annual. But that's up to you. That's a personal choice you got to make. The all access pass will be limited, as it kind of can get clunky if I just make it an uncapped thing. For this first year, it's going to start with 12. So in October, there'll be 12 slots available for that particular pass. And I will add 1 slot per year. And the reason that is because if you had all 12 people sign up for all 12 clubs, it gets kind of weird to juggle, and it's just more clean this way. Now, the all access people, they also get access to if a replica group gets coming up or if a new club gets announced, like we have 7 here, maybe I add on an 8th, then they will get notified to sign up first before I make a public announcement about it. And I may ask the access people, like, hey, you're in this book club. I'm coming up with a poll. Do you have any recommendations? That's per my option. But if I want to consult someone that's in the all access pass in a particular club or multiple pass members, if they're in the same club, I will do so and get their opinion. So they kind of get a little bit of whispering in my ear kind of deal. When I want it, not when I don't want it, but yes. So, Johnny, you keep mentioning multiple clubs. There's only 2. I know, but there's going to be more. And that's kind of what I've been working on in my spare time here, getting these clubs, lists, and stuff organized. So we'll go over what they are and when they are. Um, there's going to be a book series group, and that will be on Monday evenings at 7:30. I may switch this one to Fridays. I'm going to get some feedback probably from the 30 years or newer club to Friday. So there's some wiggle room there, but the other ones of these are pretty much locked. There may be some wiggle room. There's maybe an hour or 2, maybe, but we'll see. But book series, that's more or less if a book has a sequel or it's a trilogy or it's 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 30 plus books or something. That's what that group is for, is to read the entire series. Again, that'll be at 7:30, and that times are central. So yay, central time. Go see. Um, and on Tuesday nights, it's gonna be books that are 30 years or newer. Oh, let me back up. So I'm busy working on the book series list. It's a long list, and I'm curating it, and it's taking a while. It will start in October. It will, but I won't be done or near done, but there'll be enough there where it's okay that I'm not finished. Um, Another thing on that, if it's an ongoing series, it's not going to be on the list unless it's like a completed arc, like Cosmere Universe. There are completed arcs in there. So that's not a deter from us not being able to start and complete an arc within the bigger arc, if that makes sense. But if there's an arc that's 2 of 4 books, that's not going to be in the list. It's just not. And then on Cosmere in particular, the first entry may just be available until we read that first entry, and then we can unlock the other one because reading things out of order, brain starts to hurt. So let's not do that. So the most of you guys are in the 30 years or older book. There's just going to be a reverse of that, 30 years or newer. It'll be the same. I'll utilize the same list for that. It's just the times will, and by times I mean years, will be reflected differently on each one of those lists, but it's going to be pulled from the same list I've been using. So come October, that's when I update all lists, usually, and that will be, I believe, 1998 or 97 will be the 30 years or older, and then plus a year will be in the 30 years or newer. And the next year rolls around, the bottom year of the 30 years or newer will roll into the 30 years or older club, if that makes sense. Because it's 30 years or newer. So the 31-year books are now going to go into the 30 years or older club. Sounds confusing, but it's simple, I promise. Um, some of you are in the graphic novel and manga group, which is at 7:30. I think that's at 12 something right now. Come October, if you're a one club pass member, that will be $10. Or $8.50. So if that's the only club you're in, you're gonna get a little bit of a discount by almost $3 there. So good news for you. Um on Fridays, that's going to be pulp and vintage genre fiction books, primarily from the 1920s and 90s. I've not even started that list yet, but it's going to be fun because I love pulp, and that's going to include fantasy, science fiction, noir, but from like their golden age states, more or less, and a little bit beyond because we're going in the 90s here as well. And then maybe be a few things earlier from the 20s, but pulp and vintage, it's usually slated from the 20s to 90s because that's when this material was made in mass, large quantity. And I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. There'll be a lot of hidden gems, and there may be some campy stuff in there as well. Uh, Here, I'll try to give you an example. There is, I believe it's called The Stowaway, and it's about a guy on a ship, and he's kind of in cryogenics, and he kind of wakes up to an alarm, and there is an 11-year-old girl there, and she has stolen away and started to eat his food. But guess what? He doesn't have enough food and enough oxygen to complete the journey, and it's too late to go back, so he can only go forward. And it's the whole thing's about how they both can survive because nobody's in range, they can't be rescued, and it's very everything they fix doesn't solve the whole problem. There's not enough for both of them. So what happens at the end, I'm not going to spoil it, is kind of shocking in a great, wonderful way. And it's very emotional and very fantastic. And it's only like a 180-page book or 160-page book, and it's a great, great little story that nobody's ever heard of. Because that comes from the pulp and vintage age where they're putting these things on racks left and right. The next one is the books in translation. And for those who don't have an inkling of what the hell I'm talking about, I'm going to do another little screen share. I'll go over a few works that are kind of newer in that field. But what it is essentially, it's a non-English speaking country's author writing a book and it being translated to English. So they are called books in translation. And we're going to share the screen now. Probably one of the more notable ones everybody knows of is Don Quixote. That's not an American novel. It wasn't written in America. It got translated into English, and we consider it a classic book, but it's not technically an American classic because it wasn't made in America at all. It's a Spanish book. But here, let's start over here. This one is called The Vegetarian, and I'm sorry, Han Kang, translated by Deborah Smith. Now, a lot of translators kind of get an author or translator credit because it's their job to interpret what they meant. If you've never translated something, things can have context and be translated horribly or wonderfully. And their goal is also to kind of keep the author's voice in mind, too, of what they really meant. So that's why there's multiple books written by different translators or translated by different translators, I say, written by the same author. And they can have completely different tones that changes the whole I love this book to I hate this book kind of mentality. So here is one, won a Nobel Prize, if you take any stock in Nobel Prizes. But here, before the nightmare began, Yong Hai and her husband lived an ordinary, controlled life, but the dreams, invasive images of blood and brutality torture her, driving Yong Hai to purge her mind and renounce eating meat altogether. Sounds interesting. Then we got one over here called Flights by Olga. I'm not going to butcher her last name, but we're just going to call her Olga. Blah, blah, blah. Interweaves reflections on travel with an in-depth exploration of the human body, broaching life, death, motion, and migration. Choplin's heart is carried back to Warsaw in secret by his adoring sister. A woman must return to her native Poland in order to poison her terminally ill high school sweetheart, and a young man slowly descends into madness when his wife and child mysteriously vanish during a vacation and just as suddenly reappear. Sounds cool. I'm in. This one's called Disoriental. Won a National Book Award if you care. And some other things. So Fled Iran at the age of 10 in the company of her mother and sister to join her father in France. Now 25 and facing the future she has built for herself, as well as the prospect of a new generation, is inundated by her own memories and the stories of her ancestors, which come to her in unstoppable, uncontainable waves. In the waiting room of a Parisian fertility clinic, generations of flamboyant sitters return to her, including her formidable great-grandfather, Montezuma Moloch. There you go. With his harem of 52 wives and her parents. Okay. This is bizarre and interesting. That's the thing with translation books. They can get a little, because it comes from a different culture. Um, this one is Science Proceeding to the End of the World, one of the most arresting novels to be published in Spanish in the last 10 years. He's not simply right about the border between Mexico and the United States and those who cross it. He explores the crossings and translations people make in their minds and languages as they move from one country to another, especially when there's no going back. A woman who knows too well how to survive in a violent, macho world, leaving behind her life in Mexico to search for her brother. She is smuggled in the USA, carrying a pair of secret messages, one from her mother and one from the Mexican underworld. I'm in. All right, Tram 83. Let's see here. Two friends, one budding writer home from abroad, the other an ambitious racketeer, meet the most notorious nightclub, Tram 83, in a war-torn city street in succession, surrounded by profit seekers of all languages and nationalities. Tram 83 plunges the reader into the modern African gold rush, as cynical as it is comic and colorfully exotic, using jazz rhythms to weave a tale of human relationships in a world that has become a global village. I'm in. There's a lot of interesting things that I find fascinating there. The Story of My Teeth. Highway is a late-in-life world traveler, gone spinner, collector, and legendary auctioneer. His most precious possessions are the teeth of the notorious infamous, like Plato, Patriarch, and Virginia Woolf. It's a dude who collects teeth of famous people. That's fascinating to me. Sounds cool. I'm in. And this is translated by Christina McSweeney. Frankenstein in Baghdad. Title alone, I'm already in. Because Frankenstein is cool people. From the rebel Strom streets of the U.S. occupied Baghdad, Hadai, a scavenger and oddball fixture at a local cafe, collects human body parts and stitches them together to create a corpse. His goal, he claims, is for the government to recognize the parts as people and to give them a proper burial. Boom! That's genius. Absolutely, well, cover your ears, children. Fucking genius. I love that. Anyway, stop sharing and let's go back into the other one. But yeah, that's just to give you a small taste of non-US writers. There's some great stuff. Really great stuff. Sharing my screen. That's what I'm doing. And we're going to go back over here. All right. And our last little book club down here. And the translation one will be on Saturdays at 1 Central. And the last one I have is what I'm going to call special projects. That's going to be on Sundays at 6. And it's not, the club will change from special project to special project. But the first one is going to be a kind of a homage to LeVar Burton Reads. And for you audiobook people, you should be all over this one because we're going to read these short fiction, mostly all short fictions, and listen to his run of him reading the short fiction. He does a lot of clever voices, and there are sound effects and other things that make audiobooks fantastic. And it's going to be short fiction, so we may be able to get through a book a week with this, honestly. And that's currently the list I'm working on currently. But the next project after that is going to be the entire run of Redwall. And we're also going to do the audiobooks from there because I also heard they're great. So it's going to be read and listen for that group because I think both are important. And when you combine them together, like the Wonder Twins, it's amazing. And the other one, it's going to be the Famous 40. If you're not familiar with that, The Wizard of Oz is more than just one book. And what's considered actual canon in the Wizard of Oz universe is the first 40 books. 14 first 14 are written by Baum and the others by other authors. There are more than 40 books, but the canon of Wizard of Oz is considered the first 40 books. And the last one, which is just a personal interest of mine because I love Stephen King for being a character writer first and a horror author kind of second, is we're just going to read his bibliography. And that's going to include non-horror things because he's written fantasy, he's written mystery, he's written non-fiction. The man is very talented in what he does, in my opinion. And so we're just going to read his bibliography. That'll take us several years to get through, but that's okay because there's going to be variety. So let's just give you a brief overview of kind of how the special projects will go. If you're unfamiliar with the works of LeVar Burton Reads, you can Google that. They're free on the internet. But yeah, it's just mainly a bunch of nonfiction. I'm going to include a couple other books because he did start a book club. There's about 18 books there, one of which he wrote and does the audiobook for. But we're just going to encompass that into the LeVar Burton Reads short fiction project. So that'd be cool. But again, with your passes, if you sign up for more than one, you could be in 2 book clubs, 1 book club, all book clubs. And if you don't like a particular book, you can drop a book club and reuse your same pass for another book club to keep on reading. The goal with all this is just to enable personal choice a bit more. And for you to interact with different sets of people from time to time and have different discussion matters that interest you. Because just like the creepy tooth guy or tooth fairy guy that collects famous people's teeth, that doesn't jive with you. You don't want to read that. That's okay. Go plug yourself into another book club. And those of us who want to read about creepy tooth fairy people can. We can all have the best of time doing so. So that's pretty much a summary. The only last thing to include was an idea from one of our members based off another book club. The Books Are Sick people, or influencer rather. He has his own book club. And what he does there is he kind of gives a little synopsis of the author and a little bit of long form of who they are, what they've done in life, and that kind of thing. I will do my best to implement those for each one of the new books we do. So there'll be kind of additional content here for you to peruse if you're interested more about authors. So you may have questions, you may have concerns, you may have emotional outbursts. So yeah, either get a hold of me on Discord or the next meetup we're at, and we can discuss everything I've talked here. Nothing's really final for the most part, but it's kind of final in my mind until you convince me otherwise. And you are allowed to do so. You're allowed to disagree. You're allowed to throw things in my direct vicinity. Good luck with that. So yeah, I think that's going to do it. I know this is rather long, and that's why I want to do a video instead of taking up multiple minutes and doing it live. So hopefully this will give you a precursor for our next meetup, or you'll be like, Johnny, you're brilliant. You're a genius. I'm like, I know. But yeah, we're done. And recording.